So the huge advantage of using API Gateway REST is the ability to configure methods in great detail. And so the idea is that you have your client that goes from a method request to an integration request that goes to your integration. Then you have your integration response and your method response. So you have that idea there. So let's walk through what kind of things we can change in all these steps. And it's hard to list everything because some of these are contextual based on what kind of integration you have. But we'll do our best to cover generally what these things do. So let's take a look first at method request. And so we have the option for authorization. So we can change this to none, IAM, or a Cognito user pool, or a Lambda authorizer. You can specify whether an API key is required. Remember I talked about API keys before. These are API gateway API keys that you would generate out, give to users or customers. So third parties can access it. You would obviously wouldn't want to give credentials out to, it was real credentials out to third parties. So that's why that feature exists. We have request parameters where we can embed path parameters, or we can add query string parameters or add in header parameters. There's probably limitations on reserve parameters that you probably cannot modify, but the point is you can add ones at this step if you want to. We also have request model. So I believe this would be their data model where we are specifying the model schema for validating the request payload with JSON schema. We saw that in CloudFormation quite a bit. Now we have integration request. So it has different integration types. And this is basically where you choose the type of integration you want, whether it's HTTP, HTTP proxy, AWS or AWS proxy, mock. We'll cover all of these integration types in separate slides. So that's why I'm not really talking about them right now. You may have an integration URI if you're using the HTTP mode or AWS integrations. There is HTTP methods, which again is for HTTP integration because you have to say what method you utilize. We have request templates, which is actually mapping templates. Sometimes the docs calls them request templates, and then other places in the UI it's called mapping templates. But this allows you to transform incoming request data from JSON to another format. We have request parameters, so we can map path parameters to other parameters. So if you're saying you have parameters that are coming in, you don't like where they are, you could change them to different ones. We have query string parameters, so mapping query strings to other stuff. Same thing with headers. Configure options will greatly vary based on the integration type. So there will be a lot more fields for each one. So like if it was like AWS proxy, it would give you all these Lambda options, and we're not going to go through that there. It should be pretty obvious. For integration response, we have to specify the return status code for the backend. We have mapping again. So if you need to transform things, we have header mappings. We could specify our content handling. So whether we're going to pass or just pass stuff along, whether we want to convert something to binary, whether we want to convert something to text. So that is something you might want to do. Then we have our method response. So we have our status code. We have our response models. So this again is the data model enforcing what the response should look like. We have response parameters, so we can do header mappings. And so, sorry, that was the last one. And there you go, okay?